Young Thug has been working on his solo project Punk for a while now, and he hasn't released a solo project since 2019 with So Much Fun. And there's actually a fun fact to this, is that he actually thought about the idea for this album right after he had released So Much Fun in 2019. So Lou, welcome us into the episode. And guys, right before we start, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to connect the world to hip hop, and let us know what you would want to hear from this new track list. So Lou, kind of explain the details of this, because there is a lot that may go into this next project.
Yeah, so like you said, he announced this pretty much a couple of days after So Much Fun had released, and it makes sense because he's had a lot of time to build his solo catalog, because he released a lot of mixtapes, but in 2019 we got his debut with So Much Fun. And at this point, Slime Language 2 will have been released. We're recording this before the album has come out, but he has teased that, Slime Language 2 is maybe the warm-up to Punk. And what we're expecting out of this new Punk album is Thug to take a completely different approach.
There's a completely different approach, and maybe it's in the content matter and that's the first place where we're going to start with, because apparently this album is going to be super personal, and there's going to be a lot of personal anecdotes with it. Thug expressed that he's never really given us, or the fan base, more of his side of the story and more of his come-up story within it. A lot of his content matter has stayed, I would not say stagnant, but it has stayed to his style. He's never really experimented with his content matter, but it's really cool to see that now that he's entering his prime, because Young Thug is only 28, I believe, at this point.
He's still really young.
He's still really young. And if he starts making projects that have that sort of production mixed with Young Thug rapping, which we all know he could do, I mean, go listen to Sacrifices and go listen to his verse on that. Like, forgetting that Young Thug, I'm super down. So as far as the collaborators go, because that's something that we talk about often on the show, who would you want to see?
That's really interesting, because I feel like the approach to this album might be the most similar, if we're going to compare it to a previous album of his, Beautiful Thugger Girls, where you kind of had more of a rock and roll country type of aesthetic, where there was a lot of different productions going on that involved a lot of guitars. So I feel like in terms of collaborators, I would see Lil Wayne working out. They've been spotted in the studio recently. Mm-hmm. I could see that going off really well. Someone who always collabs with Young Thug is Gunna. I don't know if I would really want that, because I feel like, Gunna is kind of a watered down version of Young Thug. So I feel like whenever they're on a track together, it doesn't add too much. Someone else that I'd want to see would be Andre 3000. I feel like they're both, masters of manipulation when it comes to their vocals. So
yeah, but Young Thug blatantly disrespected him, though. So I don't.
He did, but I mean, maybe they can make amends, because they would make fire music together. Like,
yeah,
there's no
that would
doubting
be that would be a cool feature. Just a theory out there. But
sure. Yeah, I would also, want a lot of emotional ballads. You know what I mean? Something that's similar to the leak Ashin The Blunt, where Thug's getting super introspective, because he said that he wants this album to reflect real rap. He wants people to know Jeffrey instead of Young Thug. He wants people to actually know his personal experiences, because he's never delved into that on a project before.
And how do you think that changes the sort of vibe of the project? Like, we're used to getting a lot of vibrant tracks from Young Thug. We're used to getting extremely extravagant, I would say, projects from Young Thug. So how do you think it changes now that he's maybe taking more of a focused content route rather than heavy production and melodies?
I feel like he still might collab with like his most common producers, which involve Wheezy and London on the track. Those guys might still be at the helm of it, but I feel like the biggest change with this project would be the production, in the sense that he might go for some more punk beats, some rock beats, some grunge instrumentals. And, that's something that, was the case with Playboi Carti on Whole Lotta Red, where he infused trap with that sort of sound. And, you've said this, where you're like, Young Thug on those beats would have been amazing. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
And I think that's where he takes his W's, is just through the diversity in his production. Like, you can't have a So Much Fun Part 2, and it kind of gets me sad because we can't have J. Cole exec produce this project.
Would you want to see him exec produce this one or no?
Yes, but I don't know if it makes sense, because if the vibe is going to change, then I don't know, because I don't know what they're planning, and it's all speculation at the end of the day. But if you are trying to change the vibe of a project, why would you have the same executive producer? Maybe I don't know nearly what goes on in the camps or in the whole process, but it would make sense for maybe even just Thug to look over the project and to really guide it where he's at, because who knows Thugger more than Thugger? You know what I'm trying to say? And especially that it's going to be an extremely content-based project from what he's saying, then I would want to see the production match by him and his needs.
Would you want it to be more of a singing album?
No. I think, as I said, sacrifices, like a sacrifices sort of vibe, where it's just like personal anecdotes with not necessarily like complex, intricate rhyme schemes, because I don't think.
But maybe some more storytelling tracks,
exactly,
right?
more of his come up story, more of like what it's taken him to get to here. Because as we said, like, you know, you could go through so many of his projects like Barter 6, Jeffrey, So Much Fun. You never really got that. You got a lot of party tracks. You got a lot of vibrant, flamboyant sort of productions. You got a lot of Young Thug playing with his vocal ranges and him blending his vocals into the production. But I've never really heard a full rapping project from Young Thug. So it kind of gets the question going. Would he be able to pull off? And I think he would, just because he's such a talented artist. And I think Young Thug could eat wherever he wants.
I think he definitely, you know, has potential to drop his best album and, you know, top the likes of Jeffrey and Barter 6 and the Slime Season series with this next album. And he's really proving to be the most impactful and important trap artist right now.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching the episode. Listen, we got a lot of stuff going on here at NFR. You guys could join our community by joining our Discord chat. It's absolutely popping. The link is going to be in the bio, guys. And listen, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification tabs. We're doing daily content here at NFR Podcast. Thank you guys for sticking in, and I'll see you on the next one.